News, the WNBA Executive Committee and Board of Player Reps have voted that they are opting out of the 2020 collective bargaining agreement.
The W thinks that they don't have to pay us more in order for us to be here. And I think I didn't express that when I first talked about prioritization. You know, our commissioner talked about us being able to,
They did it. WNBA players just dropped a bombshell, opting out of their collective bargaining agreement with one loud and clear message: enough is enough. The league's coming off its biggest season yet, shattering viewership, packing arenas, selling merch faster than it can hit shelves. So why are the players calling for a better deal now? Are they seizing the moment to reshape their future? Or is this a risky roll of the dice? Let's dive into the power play that's shaking up the WNBA, why the timing is chef's kiss, what they're fighting for, and what the league's risking if they don't step up. Why did the players opt out? First things first, let's talk why. Why would WNBA players choose this moment to put their collective foot down? It's not just about the money. It's about making the league as valuable to them as it is to everyone else cashing in on its success. Right now, WNBA players take home a measly 9.3% of total league revenue. To put it in perspective, NBA players pocket nearly half of basketball-related income, and even in the NFL, players get 48%. The gap is enormous, and WNBA players are tired of being on the short end of the stick. They're done watching the league grow and not getting a fair slice of that growth. Think about this. A top player like Jackie Young maxes out at around $252,450, but most players, they're sitting at about $125,000 on average. Compare that to the NBA, where even benchwarmers rake in 7 figures. WNBA players are done with the low paychecks that don't reflect the league's success. If they're the ones making the magic happen, they want compensation that's just as magical. They're not asking for the moon, they just want equality. What is the CBA? And what did they opt out of? For those who don't know, the Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, is essentially the contract that lays out all the rules and benefits for WNBA players, from salaries and bonuses to working conditions and travel arrangements. The players in the league renegotiated it back in 2020, which brought some significant wins like higher salaries, better maternity leave, and improved travel policies. But here's the catch. The deal didn't go far enough, especially as the league's popularity skyrocketed over the past few seasons. By opting out, the players are signaling that they're no longer satisfied with incremental changes. They want a CBA that truly reflects their value in a league on the rise, not one that just meets the bare minimum. The message is clear. It's time for a reset, and the clock is ticking. When did they opt out? The timing here is everything. WNBA players didn't just wake up one morning and decide to throw down the gauntlet. They've strategically chosen to strike when the league's on fire, in the best way possible. The WNBA just wrapped up its most explosive season yet. Viewership is up by 30%, attendance shot up almost 50%, and playoff ratings up by over 140%. Rookie Caitlin Clark alone pulled in a jaw-dropping 2.5 million viewers for a single playoff game. Merch sales up 601%. That's not a typo. 601%. With all this growth and attention, players know they have serious leverage. And there's an even bigger prize in sight. A new $200 million a year media rights deal looming in 2026. If the league's getting this much bigger, players want to make sure they're set up to grow right alongside it. Waiting any longer could mean missing out on a pay bump that finally matches their worth. So they're making a move now, while every dollar, every eye, and every sponsor is watching the WNBA. The time is now, and the power has shifted to the players. What risks are involved? Opting out isn't without its risks, though. It's a high-stakes play. And while it doesn't automatically spell a lockout, it definitely opens the door. A lockdown negotiation could lead to a work stoppage, which might mean delays or, even worse, canceled games. For a league that's finally riding this big of a wave, that could be a huge setback. Here's where it gets tricky. Despite its booming popularity, the WNBA still isn't in the black. Reports say the league might actually lose $40 million this season. So while fans are tuning in and merch is flying off the shelves, the foundation is still shaky. A lockout would hit players' wallets hard in the short term and could drain all the momentum the league's built up. Not to mention, it might make sponsors think twice about investing. It's a fine line between a smart, well-timed power move and a gamble that could backfire. But the question is, will the league risk everything for the chance at a bigger, better future? What does that mean for the WNBA? In short, the players are taking a stand to ensure that they're not left behind as the league continues to grow. It's about equity, it's about respect, and it's about ensuring that the next generation of players can thrive without having to worry about financial constraints. If the league wants to maintain its momentum and keep its stars engaged, it has to come to the table with a better agreement. Players are looking for more than just money. They're looking for a league that supports them in every aspect, from healthcare to family planning. They want a future where their contributions are valued, and it's no longer just about surviving in the league. It's about thriving in it. The WNBA has a chance to rewrite the rules, but it's on the clock to make it happen. What could the players achieve? So, what exactly are WNBA players fighting for? It's not just about seeing bigger numbers on their paychecks. It's about changing the game for good. They're pushing for a whole new standard, demanding salaries that match the league's value, better benefits, and a supportive environment that finally levels the playing field. Think beyond the court. These players want family planning options, real health benefits, and the freedom to make more from outside endorsements. They want a model that doesn't put a ceiling on their earning potential, and some players are even calling for ownership shares in teams or the league itself. If the WNBA doesn't meet their demands, they risk seeing stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese heading overseas, or to new leagues that are already rolling out better pay and perks. There's no shortage of competition out there, and if the WNBA doesn't get its act together, they might just see their biggest stars take their talents elsewhere. The last thing they want is to lose their top talent to leagues that are offering more stability and security. The league's future and its biggest stars are at a crossroads right now. What does the WNBA risk? But the league's got a lot riding on this too. This isn't just another negotiation. It's a turning point that could make or break the WNBA's future. The league's on the verge of some big changes, with the Golden State Valkyries set to debut in 2025 and new teams coming to Portland and Toronto by 2026. They're finally pulling in the kind of viewership and media attention that women's sports have deserved for decades. If they drop the ball here, they could lose all the goodwill they've worked so hard to build with fans and players alike. Think about it. If the WNBA doesn't give players the fair deal they're asking for, they risk losing star power, which could lead to a dip in fan engagement, sponsor interest, and even expansion plans. Right now, they're in a prime position to take the league mainstream, but without their biggest names on board, that could all come crashing down. The league is finally in a spot where it could become a true sports powerhouse, but without action, that dream could remain out of reach. The larger picture. Let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about the WNBA. This opt-out is sending shockwaves through the entire sports world. The players' decision is sparking a larger conversation around equity and respect in women's sports, showing that female athletes deserve the same value and compensation as their male counterparts. They're standing up, not just for their own futures, but for athletes in every women's league out there. This is more than paychecks and benefits. It's about rewriting the rulebook for women's sports and how they're valued. WNBA players have thrown down the gauntlet, and the world is watching to see if they'll finally get the recognition they deserve. The stakes have never been higher. If they succeed, it could set a precedent for women's sports across the globe, pushing for better treatment and pay in every arena. Conclusion: we're at the start of a new chapter in WNBA history. With a year left to hash out a deal, there's still time for the league to step up, for players to make their mark, and for this story to take some unexpected turns. Will the WNBA meet players' demands and finally bridge the gap that's held women's sports back for too long? Or is the league about to gamble away all the progress it's made? We want to know what you think. Are we on the brink of a new era for the WNBA? Or is this bold move about to stall the league's momentum? Drop your thoughts below. And if you're as hooked on this story as we are, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay in the know as this saga unfolds. This isn't just a season, it's a revolution, and it's only just begun.